And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the always pressing PGA DFS podcast, previewing this week's PGA Tour action at the American Express down there in Coachella, California, La Quinta, California, whichever place you want to call it down in Southern California, where they're going to score a lot of birdies and hopefully not a lot of boogies. That's how it's going to take place this weekend. You can find me on Twitter at BDentric. My coach is always on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods. Jesse, how we doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Some fun golf there in Hawaii this past weekend, but how's everything else going with you?
Oh, I'm good. How about your boy Siwoo getting it done?
I liked it. I had a lot of Siwoo last week. I didn't have
I
enough
did not.
sixes. I remember
you fucking saying his name, and I'm like,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, I didn't have enough 6 of 6s, but I had a lot of Siwoo that helped a lot of 5 of 6s get home.
I'd say.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
But it was a weird week because some of the big dogs, Tom Kim didn't get it done. Sungjae didn't get it done.
It's Jordan Spieth.
Spieth went full Keegan. That was
it's now the full Spieth, apparently.
Yeah, now it's full. Did you watch that? Did you watch any of that?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I just saw your tweet.
And it was must see. It was must see TV. Like it was full Jordan talking to himself for at least 9 holes. It was amazing because he had a bunker shot that didn't get out of the bunker. Like just everything that could go wrong. And then on 18 just blew me away. Like all you had to do is basically, I think he had to birdie 18, which is one of the easiest holes on the golf course. And he just launches his drive so far left that basically took birdie almost out of play. I'm like, dude, all you have to do is get there in 3, and most guys get there in 2 easy. Just put it in the freaking fairway. Yeah. What are you doing? It just made no sense to what he was completely unraveled. It was amazing.
Yeah, I didn't watch much this week. Wasn't super interested. The golf course is okay, but it's not like like Torrey Pines,
It's not like a Torrey Pines. No, it's not like a Torrey Pines. We'll get plenty of that for you guys next week. I can fill you in on a few nuggets there, but the Sony was interesting just because a lot of the young kids that we like to root for, that they all showed up. Buckley almost got his one. Putnam had a big Saturday to put him up towards the top. He's not a young kid, but he got his. A handful of guys played very, very well. It was kind of to me, it was more the big names that didn't play so well. That kind of like even Hideki played well, but not well enough. Connors kind of turned it on the weekend, got it done. Mackenzie Hughes missed the cut. He was just disastrous. There's a couple guys that just blew up a couple times, but then one of the highlights, this is where I loved having the cuts back, is Austin Smotherman for $6,300, less than 1% rostered. He's 2 under on Thursday. I'm like, sweet, we're doing good. Or he's 4 under, I think. And then he has 2 double bogeys on Friday. He's going into the last hole, even par. The cuts at 2 under. Eagles 18. He stiffs, like his second shot, he stiffs than 5 feet. I'm like, oh, this is great to have back. It's so great.
Yeah. I mean, he hits 5 feet 9 inches.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I made it to make the cut.
Of course, I wasn't watching it live because it wasn't available live, so I was watching it on my shot tracker on the phone, just like praying, make the putt, please.
You shot 4 under, 2 over.
Yeah, because he went 4 under on Thursday. He had 2 double bogeys. That's it. The rest are all pars.
He had all pars on the front all the way through to 12, and then made a double, par, eagle.
Yeah, what a round of golf, my friend. What a round of golf to get to the weekend and do next to nothing, but still make the cut. Unlike Ryan Armour, who just had to make par in 18, again, the easiest hole in the course, to make the cut and give me a few of 6 of 6s. Instead, he goes and bogeys 18 to make it even better. So,
yeah, I'm just glad that, because I mentioned Spieth as being the pivot off of chalky Tom Kim last week, and I was kicking myself after that first round that I didn't play. I played Tom Kim, I didn't play Spieth, and I'm just glad I missed out on that tilt.
It was just so much fun to watch because I did have a lot of Spieth. I figured price point and everything, but yeah, it was fun. It was the Sony. Let's put it that way. You got kind of a little bit of everything. Got super windy. The PM/AM wave worked really well if you did go waves. Lots and lots of bad weather throughout the weekend or throughout the Friday. That made things change up a bit, but other than that, it was a normal Sony to me. And heads us to California now. The California swing. We got the Amexes. We got Torrey next weekend. I believe it's Pebble the weekend after, and then Phoenix. I think they flip-flopped them for the Super Bowl. They mixed that up. So since the Super Bowl's a week later, got to have the Waste Management a week later. So we'll see how that plays out. But we got 3 courses this weekend, Jesse.
Yeah.
We have a Pro-Am this weekend, Jesse. What do you have for some past event history on this event?
It's It's not the funnest. It's a really good field this year, thankfully, but it's not the funnest event on tour, in my opinion. Yeah, so last year, Hudson Swafford won. He was 23 under, 2 shots over Tom Hogue. Siwoo was the champion in 2021, 23 under, 1 shot over Cantlay. Andrew Landry won in 2020, 26 under, 2 shots over Answer. Adam Long was the winner in 2019, 26 under, 1 shot over Hadwin and Mickelson. John Rahm was the 2018 champion, 22 under, playoff over Landry. Hudson Swafford, 2017, 20 under, 1 shot over Adam Hadwin. Duffner, past champion. Jonathan Vegas, I know he's in the field. Bill Haas, I don't know if he's playing or not. That's about all you need to know, really.
It sucks Swafford won't be here since he's on Live nowadays.
I forgot he went that way. Yeah. I remember 2017. Like, I actually played him on DraftKings. I remember a lot of this golf tournament. There's some incredible stuff really in this golf tournament. If you think about John Rahm versus Andrew Landry, 2018. Yep. And then Adam Long hits that wild shot.
And Adam Long was +2 something. He was like not even supposed to be in the tournament.
Yeah, I think he was a Monday qualifier or something.
Yeah,
and he hits it like a kind of wayward drive and has this really ridiculous lie on 18, and then hits a hell of a shot to beat Phil. And then Andrew Landry actually gets it done. Siwoo champion, and then fucking Hudson Swafford. Like, there's some big time betting numbers that have won this tournament.
Yes.
If you look at like Landry, I know was more than 100 to 1. Mm-hmm. Swafford was at least the first year. I don't know about last year, and Adam Long was 200 plus, and Siwoo was probably 75 or so, I would think,
give or take. Yeah.
The
one caveat this year is we have a loaded field.
Yeah, it's a very good field.
Like the best it's pretty much ever been. There's, I believe it's 6 or 7 of the top 10 in the world, and like it was like 12, I think, of the top 20 in the world, something like that, if I read last time. So that's going to make this a whole different tournament. We have not. This is usually kind of a Passover. Like, guys go to Hawaii and they get ready.
Well, it's a pro-am too. People don't want to quit.
6 hour plus rounds, man. It's like, even when I go to Pebble to watch Pebble, I get bored after a while because it's just like, it's just, come on, let's go. Like, it's come on. Because I play ready golf. I like to get through my round of golf within like 4.5 to 5 hours if I can. Like, that's cool. If it takes longer, it is what it is. But like, let's keep moving. It's a little different in the pro-am setup, but with it being a pro-am, slower greens, easier pin placements. That's why the scores are in the mid-20s most of the time. As Jesse mentioned, it's 3 courses they'll play. They'll each get around Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with the final event being at the final Sunday round being at TPC, the Pete Dye course. Stadium course, TPC Stadium course. The Pete Dye course. That's the one everybody looks to focus on because that's the one we have a shot tracker on. So we'll get 2 rounds of that if your guy makes the weekend.
It's a cut after 3 days, right?
It's after 3 days. So everybody's play 3 days. They'll play the Stadium course, La Quinta course, and the Nicholas course. They're all par 72s. They're all under 7,200 yards. La Quinta's barely over 7,000 yards. It's the easiest of the 3 courses. They all have 4 par 3s. They all have 10 par 4s. They all have 4 par 5s. All the par 5s are very, very gettable. The par 4s, a lot of them range between 350 and 450. The par 3s are very, very important because on the Stadium course especially, the par 3s are some of the hardest holes on the entire golf course. So that comes into play as well. The biggest defense out here is you will get some wind and some weather once in a while, but for the most part, it's the water. There's water between the 3 courses combined. There's water on a little over a third of the holes. On the Stadium course, they built it to mimic TPC Sawgrass. It's Pete Dye course also, obviously. So like, there's an island green par 3, and then there's a lot of holes with water on both sides that come into play. So a lot of it's just stay out of trouble because the rough won't be bad because it's a pro-am. They don't want that to be an issue. You're still obviously always better out of the fairway because you can spin the ball and control the ball, and with very gettable pin placements, that's a big time benefit. So don't get me wrong there, but you can still bomb and gouge and have some fun because it has been wetter than usual. So I don't know if it'll be as runny as it's been in the years past because it's a desert area. So usually in California, we don't get rain. So this ball will run, and they probably have great drainage systems. I'm not going to doubt that because I saw that at Torrey firsthand yesterday, and wow, that was impressive. But it's not going to be like, burnt out waste management style stuff either. So I'm still going to stick to my normals. Like, I want to give me fairways, give me a good approach game in. I will look at opportunities to look at DK scoring because that'll be big when you only have a 3-day cut. You're going to need those DK scores in a big, big way. But all in all, it's just stay out of trouble. You can look at Pete Dice Specialists. Si Woo's one of them. Like those guys do very well at these courses. But all in all, the one thing I did forget to mention, there are a ton of bunkers on this course. So that can be like the one defense. They shouldn't have an issue because the greens are pretty much average to above average in size. But if they get, a little squirrely, the bunkers are some of the tougher bunkers on tour. So that's something to keep in mind. But I don't see it being an issue for some of the best of the best. This is a birdie fest. And as one John Rahm would say, and you probably heard it everywhere you listen to content, this is a effing putting contest. And he said that in the middle of his round last year, he was pissed because it's basically who can get hot with a flat stick to the nth degree is going to run away with this thing. So keep that in mind. What stats you looking at on this one, Jesse?
So a lot of similar stuff to what you just said. There's, the problem with the course history here is, you're really only getting 2 rounds of shot gain data. And so it's kind of sketch. I mean, it's basically like your resort course. Let's, see how many putts we can make, kind of thing. But I agree with like the opportunities or proximity, greens and regulation, that type of thing. One other thing I will mention too, before we get into it, is keep an eye on the weather. Right now, the forecast is not bad for most of the days. That Thursday, when I was looking earlier, said PM showers, obviously subject to change over the next few days. But these guys also, they start on 3 courses, so it's not like it's an AM PM wave. I believe everybody kind of goes off within about 4 hours of each other, if I remember correctly. Yeah, could be wrong about that, but so a lot subject to change until you see that, that forecast for sure. Wednesday evening.
And the last goofy caveat, because it is a pro-am and you get 3 days in here, is unlike most events from what I was reading earlier, and I'm surprised, I thought it changed with the rest of the world, but it did not. After the 3-day cut, the top 70 make it to the weekend, to Sunday, I should say, not to top 65. So an extra 5+ guys will make it to the weekend potentially, and in a field of around 150 golfers, that's telling you close to half the field makes it to Sunday. So keep that in mind. That's why I like to focus a lot on DraftKings scoring this week, because you need those birdie machines in bunches. And even par 5s, they should all score on par 5s. But if you want to look at eagles on par 5s, you need to take advantage of this golf course. And lastly, if you're playing Showdown, this should be easy to figure out. Play La Quinta, and then Jack, then Stadium in that order. That's the way I would approach it. Now, if you want to be contrarian, you play Stadium, because you can score on Stadium. You can, just not as easy, but they'll be long. Keep that in mind. All right, let's get into it. DraftKings scoring for the American Express Championship. 10K and above, again, loaded field. John Rahm at 10.8 is still too cheap. Scheffler at 10.5, Finau 10.2, Cantlay 10.1, Xander 10K apparently had the MRI. Apparently he's fine. I will not be playing Xander until I know he's fine.
Yeah, you can. I mean, pretty much eliminate him off. Not to mention his course history here is not. I mean, it's miscut, and his 2 appearances. That was obviously 5-6 years ago. Now it's hard to believe that 2017 was 6 years ago. But yeah, I would wait and see. I mean, maybe if he says his back is good, but are we going to get any information on that before? At any point, probably not, because that's just how the PGA Tour is. But yeah, the 4 guys above him, Rahm, Scheffler, Finau, Cantlay, all playable. I will say Cantlay, 9th, 2nd, 9th, in his 3 starts here, and has been playing solidly. I'll be interested to see kind of some ownership projections, but you can kind of play the ownership game up here. Obviously, John Rahm, I mean, it's hard not to play him, but will he get mad about it? I don't know. So the other 2, Finau and Scheffler, I think are totally fine too. But Cantlay is kind of where I'm focused at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Cantlay fan, but I'm with you on this one. And he plays well in pro-ams. He's done it in Pebble too. And it sounds cheesy, but Jesse and I understand it. And people that play golf, like we said earlier, the 6+ hour rounds, it's not for the normal person to that's why Jason Day loves these tournaments to certain guys, because they don't mind talking to some dude from Invesco, and they're kind they're fine with that. So yeah, it makes it much more interesting there with Cantlay. He's 6th in the model for what that's worth, but to me, Rahm's too cheap. If you want to play Rahm, just eat the chalk. He until it's otherwise, he should be in the 11s. Even 12K would not offend me with John Rahm. He's just that good. Make people make a decision on him.
Right.
At 10.8, it's not really a decision. If you want to play him, it's easy to play him. So you can go there. But Cantlay's the guy for me. Out of the other two, though, with Finau and Scheffler, if I have to decide without looking at ownership, because don't really have it yet on a Monday, I'm kind of looking at Scotty. That's what I'm looking at. Because if you look at past events, 25th, miscut third here. You got Finau 40th, 4th, 14th, all fine and dandy. But with Scotty, I like the way he's kind of coming into this. You know, he finished at the third at the Worldwide, 9th at Houston, took the time off, but then 7th again at Century. We're seeing him trend back into what he did, given Finau's been amazing. So it's like kind of grasping at straws, but I think that's what keeps maybe Scheffler the lowest rostered out of those four we've talked about, because we're just kind of Xing Xander out. So that kind of makes him interesting to me if I have to like throw those scenarios out there.
Yep, I agree with that.
All right, 9K range here. You got Sungjae at 98, Willie Z at 96, Tom Kim at 95, Sam Burns at 94, Brian Harmon at 93, Si Woo Kim at 92, Cam Young at 91, and Aaron Wise at 9,000. Honestly, with the field of 3 days, Jesse, I don't mind fading the top 10K guys and loading here if you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I think this range and the next one, I've got a lot of guys checked off. Sungjae at 9,800 has not finished worse than 12th here ever. Obviously, that price is getting to where you really need to get inside the top 10 in order to pay off. But Tom Kim coming off the miscut, he did miss the cut here last year. So I mean, I don't know about going. I don't know if like I think you'll get a lot less ownership on him this week. The buzz will die down a bit. So I think he's fine. Sam Burns missed the cut here 2021, 6th the year before that, and 18th the year before that. I'm just gonna play Sam Burns in about everything, especially at this price. Like with these guys that he's around down here, I like that price a lot on Sam Burns at 9,400. And then last but not least, Brian Harmon played here a shit ton, finished third here last year, 8th the year before that, has another third place finish back in 2017, and played the Sony Open, made the cut there, finished 31st, about mid-pack or a little bit better at the Tournament of Champions. So he's playing solid golf as well.
Yeah, I love Harmon at $9,300. Pete Dye specialist. You mentioned his event history here has been great. You mentioned his recent form. If you go farther back, second at the RSM, second at the Worldwide Technology, playing just really, really good golf. So I like Harmon quite a bit. It's going to be tough for me to get back on Siwoo. He plays great at Pete Dye. He plays great here, but coming off a dub always concerns me a bit. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I like Willie Z. He looked healthy again in his last go-around, which makes me feel a little bit better about things. He finished 11th at the Century. It's everybody makes the cut type thing, but it was good to see him back out there. Finished 6th here last year. So I think Willie Z at 96 is interesting. And then I'm hoping Sungjae comes in a little overlooked. That's what I'm hoping for. He usually doesn't. That's the downside. He missed the cut last week, 13th of the Century. But if we want to talk history, 11th, 12th, 10th, 12th in his 4 years. He's very, very consistent here. We know Sungjae is a birdie machine when things get going. Now, are things going right now? That's a big question. But he's 4th in par fives. Like, he's very, very good. So I think coming off the miscut, Sungjae is a guy I'm really looking to target here based on ownership to maybe put with like a Brian Harmon or something. The one guy I want to ask you about, what are your thoughts on Cam Young?
Yeah, I mean, he's fine. Finished 40th here last year, 13th at the Tournament of Champions. I put him in the kind of the same bucket as Sam Burns. Obviously, trying to narrow it down a little bit as far as like the guys that we talk about on here also, because I mean, obviously all these guys are legitimate golfers, but the price is low on him. So I just anticipate most people seeing his name and being like, hey, yeah, I'm going to play him, because he's got the name recognition now, but also too, that's a pretty good price on him this week.
Okay, cool. 8K range. We got Taylor Montgomery at 89, coming off another really good weekend. Cam Davis, Putnam, Thigala, Hoagie, KH Lee, Hadwin, Wyndham Clark, Pendrith, and Poston. Again, like you said, 8K is loaded too. So what do you like here?
I mean, pretty much like everybody from 89 to 83. Taylor Montgomery, I expect him to be popular, but I think that's fine. He's got 2 straight top 15s coming in here, and he has finished inside the top 15 in every tournament since the Fortinet all the way back in September, minus the Houston Open where he finished 57th. But playing really good golf. Cam Davis had a solid week last week. Finished 3rd here back in 2021, which was his last start. Hasn't missed a cut in 3 tries. Finished 31st last week at the Sony. Andrew Putnam, 8,700, has never missed a cut here. 14th, 21st, 10th, 34th, 17th. So solid finishes for him, and hasn't missed a cut on tour since all the way back in July at the Barracuda, playing really solid golf, coming off a top 4 last week. Thigala, I'm I'm just going to play him every week. Doesn't matter. 33rd here last year. He did play the Tournament Champions, not great, but his last start before that was second at the RSM. Hoagie was the runner-up here last year. This is kind of what started a bit of a hot streak for him, if I remember correctly, because he played well also at the Waste Management, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He plays well at Pebble. He loves Pro-Ams.
Yeah,
he plays really well in these formats.
Well, so he finished second here, miscut, and then won the Pebble Beach. Yeah, so he must like people.
Yep, he's a likable guy. It seems like,
I guess, chatty guy. He's going to be high on though. KH Lee 8,300. I talked about him at the Tournament Champions. Does well in these like kind of birdie fest events. Finished 27th last week. Finished 7th at the Tournament Champions. $8,300. I like it.
Yeah, we're on a lot of the same pages here. Like Montgomery's gonna be chalky as chalky can be. I think from people catching on to how good he is. He's great though. If you want to go there, I don't mind. He's gonna get tons of birdies. That's what he does. But I think Cam Davis is a great pivot off of him. I had a good week last week. He likes these smaller courses like we talked about. And it's also a course that if he does want to pull out the driver, it's not as penal without the rough situation. Just avoid the water. He's second in par 5 scoring in this field. He's great, and he's 9th in birdie or better, 10th in opportunities gained. So he's gonna have a lot of chances to put birdies in the hole. So we like that a lot with Cam Davis. Love Putnam, because if we're talking a putting contest, Jesse, Putnam's your guy. So I have riding him last week. He's a machine. So I like Putnam quite a bit at 87. Don't mind your Thigala thing, because he's a totally he's gonna go 20 under, or he's gonna go 3 over. That's what he's gonna do. So I'm with you there. I like Hoagie still. I'm curious about the ownership. Everyone thought he'd be chalky last week. He wasn't. I think he's just super talented. His approach game's amazing. He's 8th in DK scoring. He's 3rd in par 4s, 4 to 450, which is one of the main ranges we're looking at here. So I like Hoagie quite a bit. You mentioned KH Lee. That's the last guy I'll mention here, but he loves TPC courses. He loves Birdie Fest, as you mentioned. And to build on to what you said, he's 10th in the par 4s, 350 to 400. He's 9th in par 3 scoring in this field. So it just fits this setup very, very well. I know it's a touch setup with 3 courses, but for what you're looking to attack, similar courses, KH Lee plays this very, very well. So yeah, tons and to like this AK range. We even mention them all, and you'll hear arguments for all these guys. So I guess one more I do want to mention is JT Poston at $8,000. He put together another really good week last week. Finished 21st, kind of fell apart on the weekend. That's 3 straight 21st place finishes for JT Poston, and he's also T25 miscut, T37, T7 miscut. So when he makes it to Sunday, usually finishes very well when it comes to DK scoring. So I just want to mention Poston because he always comes in low owned. So he could be a way to be a little different if you needed to be. 79 to 75, Jesse, you got some big names with Rose and Day and Fowler up top, and then it kind of goes down to like the Todds of the world. So what do you like in this range?
Yeah, it's kind of an odd range in my opinion. Denny McCarthy at 7,800, 6th here last year, miscut the year before that, 48th, miscut. So kind of sketch, but did have that 6th place last year. Coming off a made cut at the Sony, finished 31st, hasn't missed a cut on tour since August. Harris English, man, I swear I saw him. I was expecting when I clicked on his name to see that he finished like really well last week, but it's not the case. Finished 73rd, made the cut. Just didn't on the weekend. He's shooting. Was it par 70 last week? Wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was tied for the lead after the first round, 65, and then 70, 72, 72 on the weekend. Not great. I mean, you're losing a shit ton of strokes when you're shooting over par in Honolulu. But he's coming off injury. Obviously, that 65 is very promising in my opinion. A lot of times what happens with these guys is they'll have one really good round and then kind of fall apart the rest of the tournament when they're just trying to get back into the groove. And so Harris English at that price, 7,600, like that quite a bit. Chris Kirk, 75, finished 3rd, I think, solo last week. Hit it really well, hit 80% of the greens. And his driving accuracy leaves a lot to be desired, but 7,500, I think he's fine. I mean, he's played here a lot. Not great course history, 2 out of 3 made cuts, but when he has made the cut, he's finished inside the top 20.
Yeah, and the one thing I forgot to mention earlier is guys that win here or usually contend here have played at least one round in Hawaii before they come here. So that's something to keep in mind, because we're about to get in some people that have not. And I'm not saying that does not rule them out, because these guys play well here, but it just goes back to, like, you're playing golf, your current form, you're being competitive. There's a lot to be said about that. But with that being said, I'll start picking guys that didn't do it. Like Jason Day and Justin Rose just stand out to me at $700. Like, why are they $700? Well, we know
just because
why.
it's because it's the name, man.
Yeah, it's like
I'm with you.
It's just wow, because you look at him like Day, he missed the cut at the RSM, then 16th, 21st. Justin Rose 29th at the RSM, 9th at the Houston Open. So they both finished the year playing decent golf. This is a place they know very well. If they come in low owned looking on Wednesday, I'm gonna have some Justin Rose and Jason Day. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I'm not in love with it by any means, but those are like leverage plays to me that I'd rather go that direction than like a Ricky Fowler or something. But I digress. Jenny McCarthy stands out for reasons mentioned, but he's interesting. P. Raj, I'm in $7,700.
Oh, it's a Patrick Rogers week?
Because there's a couple things. He likes playing in California, and he likes playing in these pros. He plays Pebble well all the time as well. When you look at P. Raj down here, it's T40 miscut T64 here. He likes playing Pebble very well. But his recent form coming in in the fall swing, 10th, 16th, 27th, 3rd.
It's really good for him.
Playing really consistent, good golf. And you know what a lot of those were? Birdie fests.
Yeah.
Here we are. And you can tell how well he was playing because I used the last 24 rounds, and we've talked last week, and we will continue to until we get a better sample. I felt he can be wonky, but in this field, 6th in birdie or better, last 24th, 8th in par 4 scoring, or par 5 scoring, 1st in DK points, 6th in around the green, 4th in par 3 scoring. All things we want to see. Given, like I said, sample size is weird here. Playing really, really good golf. So I like him. Joel Dahlman's another guy. You talk about a birdie fest, a guy that's one of the best fairway finders on tour. If you're gonna have easy pin locations out of the fairway, I like Dahlman a lot at $7,600. Usually gets overlooked. You mentioned Harry English. I like him as well. And the last guy I'll talk about is Alex Smalley. He's 21st in my model, but finished 25th here last year, and the first time he's played here. And then his current form, miscut last week, but then 5th at the RSM, 4th at the Houston Open. I think he just missed on the number, or he's like one stroke off last week too. So Smalley at 75 is a guy that when he gets going can get a lot of birdies going too. So I like him at 75. What do you like from 7 to 7,400?
Lee Hodges at 7,400 finished 3rd here last year. Does have 2 consecutive miscuts. They were back in the fall swing, so hasn't played since. Will Gordon is playing a lot. Played really well in the fall swing. Made the cut last week, 27th. And then has decent course history. Finished. He made the cut in his one start here back in 2021. Now he finished 64th. But Lipsky, 14th here last year, coming off a 4th place finish. Seems like he might be getting hot. SH Kim, talked about him a little bit last week. 12th place last week at the Sony Open. He's never played here. Ben Griffin, he's just playing solid golf. Yeah, I mean, 12th last week and had a really good fall swing, a bunch of, made cuts and top 25. So I think he is fun as well. Ben Taylor is another guy. For some reason, the model likes him. Now, he's missed 2 consecutive cuts at this event, but is coming off a top 4 last week and does have a 3rd place finish at the Houston Open back in November. So he's playing really well too at 7,000.
Yeah, it gets fun down here. I'm with you on Will Gordon for the reasons you mentioned. Lipsky as well. 2 guys like I love to play when they're especially in the 6K range. Now that people are kind of knowing who they are, it'll be a little different, but I like both of them. Steven Yeager is always a GPP play for me because when he gets on, he's a birdie maker. He's great on par 5 scoring, but he can also get a little wonky on his approach game. So that'll be interesting to see. But he's an interesting on him. Luke List as well. Usually plays Pete Dye's decently. And when you look at the lists, 22nd and 21st here the last 2 years. I know I mentioned him at the Century, and he showed up with a T11, didn't play last week. So I think List could be a guy that can come in a little under the radar here. It's a putting tournament, so be careful with Luke List. But if he's putting it close,
course history is not terrible though.
Yeah, so I like him a bit there, especially at that price point. Ben Griffin, I've been playing him all the time. I talked about him last week. He's just lights out and needs to be priced up a little more. And then if you just want some flyers down here, I got Ben Taylor, Nick Taylor as well, another guy on the Pro-Am circuit that's good. Benny On, I wanted to mention him. He's $7,100. He finished 8th here in 2021. Last year, had to go to the Corn Ferry to get his things right, got his tour card. And then when you look at what he's been up to, Benny On, he finished 12th last weekend at the Sony, missed the cut at the RSM, 53rd at the Houston Open, missed cut at Worldwide, 17th at the Bermuda. Sounds like Benny On to me, folks. So but this is a guy that can win on the PGA Tour at $7,100. I'm interested. And then Grayson Sigg as well at 71 is playing really, really good golf. So I like him at 71 also. 6K range, who you liking?
Start with Carl Jan at 6,900. 3 straight made cuts for him. Finished 20th last week at the Sony EVR at 67.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean 56th here in his one start, coming off a made cut at the Alfred Dunhill. You just never know with him. It's just up and down. But for a GPP, he's fine. Harry Hall is my last pick at 66, 47th here in 2021, coming off a 27th place finish last week.
One guy I did want to mention that I forgot because I forgot to highlight him, but I was looking at him earlier. He's at 76 is Thomas Dietrich. I played him all fall swing. He's coming back from that Hero Challenge over there in Europe. He's very, very intriguing to me as well. 6K range. Chun On Yu is playing actually some really interesting golf right now at $6,900, 21st last week, 54th the week before. I like him. Sam Ryder, if you want to look at past event history, would be an interesting guy. He's made 5 straight cuts here, nothing better than a 29th, most of them in the 40 range. But he will get you to Sunday, which isn't as valuable because it's only one day as it used to be, but someone to think about. I like Dougie Gim at 68. He had a good week coming back. Bramlett playing really good golf, 54th last week, 64th, 9th, 63rd. So he'd be a guy I'd look at. Other than that, though, it's if you want some long shots, which I don't mind at an event like this, Tyson Alexander's 32nd, 62nd, and 2nd at the Houston Open of late. So he'd be a guy to circle at 6,400. And if you want an Uber punt, Eric Cole, 61st, 39th, 35th, 27th. He's made 4 straight cuts. So he's getting the job done. But I'm not in love with a lot of it. But if this is the kind of event that 5 of 6 into Sunday, if it's a good 5 of 6, can be actually pretty darn good. So if you want to punt and get some more high-priced guys, I don't hate it at all.
Ryan Brim would be another guy at 6,100. Basically, Stone Men. He made the cut last week. And has made the cut in both of his appearances here, which was in 2020, 2017. Not great finishes, but either way, he's $6,100.
Like just for the purpose of like just looking for guys in the 6K range that DK score well. Last 24 rounds, the best guy in the 6K range is that Chung Un Yu. He's 6,900. Other than that, you go down to like 24th is Sam Ryder, Justin Lowers 25th. But a lot of the 6K guys don't even rate out that well when it comes to DK scoring. So keep that in mind as it is a strategy if you want it, but I don't know. You still hope they get you there somewhere, but you never know. All right, let's recap things, Jesse. 10K range, who's your guy?
Can't lie, so I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I won't say wrong because that's too easy. So I'll say Scheffler to be different. 9K range.
Sam Burns.
I'm going to go with Sung J M. I'm going to plant a flag there and pray. 8K range.
I'm going to say KH Lee.
This is a really good range. I'm going to go with Tom Hoagie, but I feel bad cheating on my boy Davis. 75 to 79.
Harris English.
I'll go with Joel Dahman. That's the dude I want right there. 7K to 74.
Will Gordon.
Give me Ben Griffin. And then 6K range.
Carl Jan. I will say, too, that Sam Ryder has never missed a cut here. That's good intel by you there. Yeah.
And then, so if you don't want to go that one, Chun Un Yu, I'll go there because, like I said, he scores on the DK world at worst, and that is big coming down below here. I don't condone cash this week. Say that much right now because it's basically a no-cut event is what it feels like.
You can start it next week, even though it's fucking 2 courses next week.
Yeah, Farmers, I'm definitely – I'll play cash at the Farmers.
It's doable. It's doable at the Farmers.
Yeah. Don't play it at Pebble, and we'll go back to Waste Management and do it there and pretty much be able to do it the rest of the season.
Right.
But if you're starting a GPP, which is interesting this week, how do you start things out?
I'm going to say, Cantlay, KH Lee, and – you can throw somebody in there like your boy Patrick Rogers, man. I mean, if it's Patrick Rogers week, $7,700.
Birdie machine. Let me go with Sung Jae, Brian Harmon, and Tom Hoagie. Fill in the blanks with your cheaper pieces.
I like it.
All right, let's get into the fun part here. DraftKings Sportsbook, who do not sponsor us, just a great site to get your
They
odds
should.
for it. Yeah, they think good odds right here. It's all in one spot. It's super easy. Like it's
I know,
really
it's
accessible
really
and
easy.
nice. I even saw. Okay, this is funny. Actually, I have to say this. I saw an ad on some website I was on today, some sports site, and it showed an ad for DraftKings Sportsbook. It said, "Sign up in California, go and play in Arizona." It was encouraging like how to work the system. I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, that's funny.
I was like, 'cause they knew I live in California. Like, yeah, you can't play. But you can still sign up here. Then
I
go
can't
play in
bel
Arizona.
I can't believe California doesn't have legalized sports, but I mean, you guys can smoke weed on the side of the road, but
They tried to. Well, I won't even get into it on the show. The
right.
advertisements to stop sports betting on because it was voted on this last year.
It's crazy.
It was amazing the stuff people came up with that are so full of shit. All right, but here we go. John Rahm is 6.5 to 1, and I
Yeah.
can't argue with that at all.
No.
But you got Tommy Kim's down to 25. Who do you like in this one?
Burns at 35, I think is decent there. Cage Lee at 55. I mean, long shots have won this in the past. Will Gordon, 100 to 1.
That's not bad.
I don't think English is ready to win in 100 to 1, so I don't know about him. But like Kirk at 110, it's not terrible after he played pretty well last week. Ben Taylor's at 130. I don't know. It's hard to not see Rahm winning this as good as he's playing. I mean, but then again, like, is he just going to win everything? No.
No,
It's
he'll have
golf,
slip ups. He'll have slip ups, especially if there's ever an event to slip up his personality, it'd be this one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
With how long it takes to play, and he can get so pissy so quick. I guess
I'm surprised he plays. What?
I think it's part of the new agreement. I think it's part of the new agreements they're making, man. Like they're trying to load up these smaller events.
Amex must be paying him. I mean, he's been here like almost every year.
Yeah, I think there's check the bank accounts. There's always something. Always something. I like Cam Davis at 50. I'll say that much. 50 to 1 for Cammy is intriguing to me. But yeah, you're looking for the longer shots. The Will Gordon's not bad. I think Joel Dahmen at 100 is not bad either. The way he finished the year playing much, much better. I don't think Dietrich is a closer. He's the European phenom. He plays so well, and his Sundays just don't play well for him. But he'd be a fun top 20 guy for me, Tomas Dietrich. A few others though. If I need to go longer shots, it is hard to see with it being this loaded. I don't know if Grayson Sig's ready to win just yet, but he's definitely a top 20 material type guy for me. I don't see any winners down here, unfortunately. That's a shame.
It's
not with the top of the field.
Those guys come out of there, so.
But Sungjae at 20 actually has some value to it. Harmon at 35, the way he's playing golf, it sounded crazy a few weeks ago. Not as crazy anymore.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see. Should be, it'll be a fun week. It's just a frustrating week because we only got shot tracker on one course. You can't really keep track of things, and it's hard to tilt properly. So, any final thoughts though, Jesse, as we wrap up a 3 golf course tournament?
Just keep an eye on that weather.
Yeah, Thursday night can make it fun. We'll be in the Discord if you have any questions over there. Junkies is 2 weeks in. Lots of fun going on over there. A lot of people got in this year, which is great to see. But if you have any questions, hit up Jesse on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods. I'm at BDentric, and this was your always pressing PGA DFS podcast previewing the 2023 American Express. Catch you guys later.